We got a loaded show today on the Baltimore Ravens rundown, and we're starting up with some major changes coming for Baltimore, and that might mean you should get used to seeing a little bit more DeAndre Hopkins. After that, we're going to talk about the Ravens making a roster move, signing someone off of waivers. He's going to be a big factor in special teams. I'll tell you who that is in just a couple of seconds, and we're going to round things out with a place I did not think I would ever go. Nick Wright says something that I heavily agree with. He sounded off on Coach Harbaugh. That's how we're going to wrap up today's show. Make sure do not go anywhere and stick with us. So, if I were you, I would expect to see DeAndre Hopkins a ton more over the last 4 games of this season. And frankly, I think that's the right call. Now, John Harbaugh spoke to the media on Monday. He said a lot that I didn't agree with. However, he mentioned getting DeAndre Hopkins more involved with this offense, and I heavily agree. I'd like to be using DeAndre more. I don't think he's at the stage of his career where he's going to play every play. We talked about this, trying to be intentional about him, being out there for specific purposes to do the things that he does well. Let's get him involved more. We really need to try to do that. We can do it. It hasn't fallen for us. I still believe he's going to make plays for us that are going to matter, and I could not agree more. And the funny thing is it feels like every single play that DeAndre Hopkins has made this season, it has mattered. Doesn't it always feel like he's the go-to guy on a third down play? You need one big catch. DeAndre Hopkins is going to come up and make it. I know we all cannot forget the big catches he made early in the season, contested catches, one-handed, touchdowns, things of that nature. But still only 17 catches through 13 games. I didn't think he was going to come in here and get 1,000 yards, but I expected a little bit more through the first 3/4 of the season than 2 touchdowns and 257 yards. That doesn't help when they're not out on the field a lot. 179 snaps for him. So when John Harbaugh talks about a lack of involvement, he's not speaking hyperbolically. He's being 100% straight up with you. 29 targets for DeAndre Hopkins. 29. That's still 17 catches, and like 8 of those are contested. When he's targeted, when he's thrown at, he's been phenomenal this year. 0 drops. Talk about a guy who can be and is and has been a go-to weapon for Lamar Jackson. Now, again, I'm not expecting and I'm not begging for 2017, 2018 DeAndre Hopkins to walk through that door. But this season, he's only been targeted 4 or more times. Twice. That's it. And in my opinion, that falls on Todd Monken. That might fall even a little bit on Lamar Jackson as well. But why aren't you getting the ball to your best players, your most consistent players? And that's the thing about DeAndre. It's like, that's one of the reasons I'd like to get him more involved. Because he is one of the most sure-handed wide receivers that this team has. 0 drops. Must I say it again? Every time you go to him with the ball, if it's in his vicinity, he's going to come down. Do you want to see more DeAndre Hopkins? Like the video for me if you do. Okay, cast your vote that way. If you want to see him get more than 4 targets in the next game, do me one big favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Let's talk about the roster move. The Baltimore Ravens claimed former Chicago linebacker off waivers. He was cut from the team just a couple of weeks ago, been sitting on the waiver wire, and the Baltimore Ravens picked him up. Now, the reason they did that, he's not going to come in here and he's not going to challenge Teddy Buchanan, Roquan Smith, Trenton Simpson for snaps when you're looking at the defensive side of the football. He's going to be used in special teams. And your 2 younger receivers, your 2 your 2 younger and undrafted free agent linebackers, Jay Higgins and Chandler Martin, they're not on the roster right now as Higgins is placed on injured reserve and Chandler Martin is out for the rest of the season with a really, really bad knee injury. So you need some help on special teams, and that's been Carl Jones Jr.'s mantra since he's been in the National Football League. He appeared in 9 games this season for the Bears. 11 tackles on 148 special team snaps. He's very similar to Jay Higgins and Chandler Martin, the fact that he was an undrafted free agent, not in 2025 though, back in 2024 out of UCLA. And he's a guy that still has blazing speed, a guy you would like to have on your kickoff coverage, 4.52 second 40 yard dash. And again, like I'm not out here saying he needs to get snaps over Simpson, Buchanan, and Smith, but I do believe you could have a little help on your special teams. Like this was a good move for the special teams. I love the way the kicking unit in game, like field goal, extra point unit has operated this season. But the kickoff coverage hasn't been phenomenal. It's one of those things you don't really notice until like 14 weeks in, and you're like, okay, why does everybody seem to be starting their drives at 35? Like this team is bottom 10 when it comes to NFL and returning average for opposing teams. Don't love that one bit. Not one. Don't go anywhere, though. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. Nick Wright. He finally makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. We've been waiting for it for decades. We talked bad about him on this very channel more than one time. Okay? Well, today we're going to talk about something that I actually agree with. But something you should agree with is that PrizePicks is the best place to go for any daily fantasy sports. It is the holiday season. Means it's the best time of the year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It is all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. And that's PrizePicks. My wife coming into this year could not even name 4 pro teams. She could name the Ravens, the Steelers, and that was probably it. But we started playing on PrizePicks now every Saturday night. We're breaking down who she's picking for a lineup. It's the most exciting way to watch football. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose Flex Play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the Power Play. No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. We got the college football playoff coming up in about a week and a half. You know, I'm a Tennessee guy. Let's talk SEC ball in the first round. I took the more on Trinidad Shamlis, 1.5 passing touchdowns against Tulane. That was 2.5. I would have taken the more as well. Took the more on Ty Simpson, half a rushing touchdown. Sneaking suspicion. He's going to put one in with his legs. And John Mateer, he's been doing it all season long. Give him the more on half a rushing touchdown as well. In fact, I don't even know if John Mateer can throw for a touchdown. He wants to get in the end zone. He's going to have to use his legs. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. So there he is in all his glory. Only a face a mother could love, as they say. Well, I'm loving that face a little bit more after what he said about Coach John Harbaugh, a guy who we've all had a lot of opinions on. I'm just glad to start hearing it with some people with like network massive platforms. He said John Harbaugh should be coaching for his job the rest of the year. Even if they make the playoffs and then get clocked. And if they look like this in the playoffs, I don't know how Baltimore can run it back again. And I could not agree more with that sentiment. Literally could not agree more if I tried. And that's the frustrating thing about this whole John Harbaugh situation. Like, if it was year 1 of Lamar Jackson, it would be totally different. Hell, if it was year 2 or 3 of Lamar Jackson, it would be totally different. It's not that anymore. Lamar Jackson's almost been in the NFL for a decade. He's not getting any younger. And I get it. Eric DeCosta, John Harbaugh, they're boys, right? They're boys. So it makes me feel like he's probably not going to go anywhere. Let's go to Harbaugh's career before we go to this Gage. We'll round out with that. And that's like the frustrating thing. It's like I don't think John Harbaugh's going to go anywhere. And I don't think that should be the case. Because he really hasn't had any playoff success since 2012. He hasn't. He's been the head coach for 17 years. Great regular season record. Postseason record's fine, but if you look at the postseason record in the last decade, it's not so great. Things have not been trending in the right direction. You need somebody new. You need somebody fresh. 10 names I'm going to give you. Jesse Minter and Brian Flores. I think those are my 1-2. In fact, I might even switch those. Put Brian Flores up the top. He might be my favorite coach in all of the National Football League. But I think those two guys, along with Jeff Hafley, they fit the mindset of play like a Raven. They're tough guys. They coach with intensity. They're not afraid to get in somebody's face. I love the way that they run their football teams, at least the defensive side of their football teams. Jesse Minter, he's a young and up-and-coming man. Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Bills, I think is an interesting guy to take a look at. Mike McDonald, head coach for the Seahawks. Obviously, that one's kind of a pipe dream. You let him go to Seattle. He was here in the building. You had him. Now they're one of the best teams in the NFL, so I think that is almost a 0% chance that happens. Dan Lanning and Marcus Freeman. I'm going to give you two college names that you should keep an eye on. Now, it's hard making the jump from college to the NFL. It's hard to, hire a really good staff. You don't have NFL connections, but I still think those are two guys that would be good coaches at this league. Anthony Weaver, defensive coordinator for the Dolphins, obviously has his Baltimore Ravens ties. Don't know how jazzed up I would be about that. Cliff Kingsbury and the Commanders, his stock has kind of gone down a little bit. But Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator for the 49ers, I would love that. I think he got dealt a really bad hand in New York, and that was more of him being a really bad organization than it was his lack of being able to run a football team. I'm curious, will John Harbaugh be fired at the end of the season? Give me a yes or a no in the comment section down below. I don't think so, Gage. What about you? Gage doesn't think so either. But two boys can dream. I also dream that you guys follow me on socials, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on both platforms. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/RavensTV.